So the main learning that I have from the Victims Summit for all professionals out there, particularly if you are a service provider in the criminal justice process, so the police, the CPS, the probation service, the court system. Victims have lived experience that can be used for the greater good. We are advocates for change. We can use our lived experiences to shape policies, procedures, and to change laws. We are an important part of the conversation for positive change. We are experts by experiences, and we can challenge services that are not fit for purpose. Victims have a right for respect, compassion, dignity, sensitivity, and to be treated as human beings and not numbers. We heard many times throughout the day that the criminal justice system is inhumane. It is re-triggering, re-traumatizing, and it needs to be fit for purpose so that it empowers victims of crime and not disempowers them. Sadiq Khan, the current mayor of London, said, and I quote, "We need to do right and better by victims. We need a justice service, not just a justice system." And he will be holding Sir Mark Rowley, the head of the Met Police, he will be holding him to account on the 9 priorities that he's outlined in his turnaround plan. Now, Sir Mark Rowley, said they are going to be using technology to gather feedback from victims so that police forces can improve their pathways where they are failing. Sophie Linden, who's the deputy mayor, said that lived experience groups will be involved in all of the work throughout the whole criminal justice system pathway because she understands their value and their importance. Ed Argar, Minister for Victims and Sentencing, said on the day that he has been involved heavily with Claire and her work in the Victims Code and the Victims Bill, and he helped abolish the Same Roof Rule 1979, which allowed victims that were not able to get criminal injuries compensation are now able to do so. I am a member of the Same Roof Rule group on Facebook, and I messaged them whilst Ed was speaking, and I asked the group how many of them have actually been able to get criminal injuries compensation since the rule had been abolished, and many of them are still waiting for criminal injuries compensation. So I'm now going to follow that up with Ed Argar. Now, it's really refreshing and important that many leaders understand the importance of the lived experience and how that can improve services. Because I just want to read to you some things that were said by victims. Personal bias and judgment needs to be left at the door. Every victim needs to be treated as a person by the professional that's dealing with their disclosure or their case. The right person needs to be the interviewer for the victim. So the victim needs to be able to ask for a male or female dependent on their circumstances. And this is their right actually under VCOP, but many victims don't know this. Some victims had their phone and their clothes taken away from them and they didn't know that this might happen. And they felt very discombobulated after the fact of their clothes or their phone being taken away from them. Victim and survivors felt that there was no communication with them on their case, that they weren't kept up to date. They felt that they had no support and just had to carry on as normal. They were alarmed that the case went on hold when their case officer went on holiday or had other work commitments, which meant a delay in their case. Victims felt like they were an inconvenience, or they felt that they were dismissed. They felt that their case was not given any importance, or they felt like they were not taken seriously. They felt like that the police had dropped their case and it was not even referred to the CPS, so therefore it wasn't given any validity from their perspective. They felt that their trust had been broken because the crime against them had not been taken seriously. Sir Mark Rowley did say that people should be put first, frontline officers should come second, and the organisation and senior people should come third. So he is all about changing the service to meet the needs and put victims first. He said the service should be about prosecuting more offenders and giving a service to the victims. Then Max Hill, KC, who is the Director of Public Prosecutions for England and Wales, came on and said that he is putting together a victims reference group that will input into his services. He said that victims and survivors, complainants, should feel like a human being and not another number. He said there needs to be effective communication. Updates with victims should be timely. And he wants to get out there more about how the CPS does actually work and function in the best interest of victims of crime.